Praise be to Jesus. Hello again, everyone. Charles Whitty here, and here are your latest Catholic news briefs. Pro LGBT Jesuit priest and Vatican advisor Father James Martin is suggesting that those who oppose his message of affirmation to homosexuals are not only going against the Vatican, but they are not orthodox. In a tweet sent out on Monday, Martin criticized dozens of Catholics in Atlanta, Georgia, for protesting Archbishop Wilton Gregory's invitation to the pro LGBT priests to speak at two local parishes next month. Martin trotted out three arguments as proofs of his orthodoxy, attempting to turn the tables on those who object to his efforts to normalize homosexuality within the Catholic Church. The irony: an archbishop, the legitimate ordinary of the archdiocese, invites a priest in good standing who has stated he is not challenging church teaching to deliver a lecture on welcome that has been approved by the Vatican. Who is orthodox here? He tweeted. Atlanta CBS 46 reported about Catholics who gathered outside the Cathedral of Christ the King on Sunday protesting Archbishop Gregory's invitation. "We're simply protesting two things," said Dr. Kelly Bowring. One, that Archbishop Gregory directly invited Father James Martin to speak. It wasn't that it just happened, he invited him. And secondly, that Father James Martin himself is coming to the diocese to speak with a pro gay agenda. A high ranking Vatican cardinal has called a recent allegation that Pope Francis covered up for and promoted a known abuser an unjust attack against the Pope. Cardinal Mark Ouellet, prefect of the Vatican's Congregation for Bishops, told EWTN interviewer Andrea Gagliarducci during a September 15th press conference that recent criticism of Pope Francis is a very serious offense. "We are facing a crisis in the life of the Church, a crisis at the level of leadership of bishops and also to a certain extent of rebellion," the Canadian Cardinal and Archbishop Emeritus of Quebec said. "This is a serious matter that has to be dealt with in a very serious way, not only in a political way," he continued. So I think, for example, when there is a direct attack against the Holy Father, I think it is a very bad example and a very serious offense. Of course, he takes the side that, um, we're attacking. We're not attacking. I like to say this is like something like, we're pro-life, we're pro-truth, is what we are, and when someone doesn't speak the truth, whether it be your mother, father, sister, brother, or the Pope, or anybody in between, we need to make it a point of correcting them. And, I understand it's what we believe to be the truth. I mean, no one can be perfectly sure. But I expect someone who, um, feels differently when they speak up. I may not agree with them, but I think they're doing the right thing. They're speaking for what they believe to be truth. And that's why St. Bernadette always said, just speak the truth and, leave it alone. Don't get into arguing with people. I think she said, let's see, my job is to inform, not to convince. See, we should have respect for people and their other opinions. I think that's basically the bottom line. But to accuse us of attacking, I think this is wrong. So we'll leave it at that. A proposal to give victims of child abuse in Pennsylvania an opportunity to file lawsuits over claims that would otherwise be too outdated to pursue overwhelmingly passed the State House on Tuesday, but it was unclear if it will get through the Senate. The House voted 173 to 21 to send the Senate a bill creating a 2 year window for litigation, but the idea has not been warmly embraced by the upper chamber. Establishing such a window was among the recommendations in a state grand jury report issued last month that found hundreds of Roman Catholic priests abusing children in the state going back to the 1940s, and the church officials covered it up. The final House vote came without debate. Well, boy, if something like this passed and all these adults now could come and sue the Catholic Church. I mean, they could put dioceses into bankruptcy, I would think. Um, but other than that, I mean, that's what just occurred to me. I don't really want to speak on whether that's a good idea or not. I really don't know enough about it to have an opinion. Although it could be, very expensive. Like I said, it could put. It seems like it could, like Pittsburgh, who almost had 100 priests. I mean, can you imagine the kind of litigation they'd be in? Okay, next story. Newly revived activist group Roman Catholic Faithful is challenging Chicago Cardinal Blaise Cupich and Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan to collaborate in its efforts to compel the release of secret documents testifying to the Archdiocesan Homosexual Network and its role in covering up sexual predation against young men and minors. In a Monday press conference, RCF president and founder Stephen Brady stated, "A number of persons have raised issue regarding the late Cardinal Joseph Bernardine's alleged homosexual abuse of seminarians and of other young men. We want all Bernardine related documents, including court documents, unsealed, and we want the Chicago Archdiocese to release all of the documents they have, both secret and otherwise, regarding any payoffs, even if they were made through a third party," he added. So, this next story we've reported on before. Um, it was reported on by a church militant who spoke directly with Father Paul Kalchik, and what those stories said and the kind of tone um, that the priest gave, or unless church militant is making this up, I mean, you really don't know for sure. This is something very different than what. Who is this now? I think this is the Catholic News Agency is reporting. All right. So Father Kalchik is the one who at least allowed. I'm not sure if he had knowledge of what the parishioners or some of the parishioners were doing about burning this rainbow flag. And then Cardinal Cupich sends in two of his vicars of priests to what seemed to be like bully him and tell him that he needs to go get some counseling at a St. Luke Institute, which is really a questionable place to begin with. Apparently, a lot of homosexual priests are there. So why they would send him there, I mean, I don't really know that much about it. Um, so the kind of what we were led to believe there is really in contrast to this here. All right. The Archdiocese of Chicago has confirmed the temporary removal of the parish priest at the center of a controversy over the burning of a rainbow banner. According to the Archdiocese, Father Paul Kalchik has, this is in quotes, left willingly, all right, from his Chicago parish to receive pastoral care. And then it goes on a little bit. All right, so left willingly, that's not what he told Church Militant, and he didn't really want anything to do with pastoral care. In fact, Church Militant reported that he left. I think he most likely left with his brother, who was there visiting the diocese or visiting the parish at that point, and to some undisclosed location. So, Church Militant says like he's in hiding, and the Archdiocese is saying he willingly went to receive pastoral care. Something leads me to believe that, obviously something isn't right here. So, when you listen to news stories, everybody's got an agenda. And, my agenda is conservatism, you know. So I look at things from that point of view, and that's what I post. But there's the flip. There's the flip side of the story. Um, so where the truth is in, maybe not every story, but, in some stories anyway, what exactly has transpired in a conversation. It's not like we can listen to the conversation. People use that as an argument to say, well, how do we know that Christ really said that remarriage is adultery? I mean, he may not have, the one who, each one of the writers of those three gospels where those words are, they could be mistaken, or there could be something about language that has never been understood, and it could mean something very differently. So we don't have an audio recording of Christ's voice, so uh, you know, and that's the same thing with these news stories here. It's like you can wonder exactly what's going on. Okay, well, that's all I have for you right now. So we'll talk to you next time. Bye.